I was initially introduced to cross kicks by doing a Google search looking for the perfect shoe that would allow me to unload my kayak from the ramp without changing shoes, getting in the boat, fishing all day, and being able to come back, get in the truck, and go home.
The big thing for me that made me wear cross kicks over other shoes was the versatility. I can go to the boat ramp, and then when I'm done at the boat ramp, I can go meet my wife and kids for a nice dinner and wear the same shoes and have, nice looking, comfortable shoes on.
I ordered cross kicks because of the backing strap, the drainage. Visually, I thought this has got to work better. Tried the shoe within the first week, felt it was phenomenal. It works for me. It allows me to rinse my feet off in the water, get back in the vehicle, continue on my day, and never have to change shoes throughout the day.
It keeps me comfortable all day long. That is a huge factor on the water. Comfort, comfort, comfort. And especially my feet being comfortable, protected, and knowing that when I step off my kayak, I'm gonna have good solid foot traction. That's a great feeling to have.
By the time I put my kayak in the water and get out and load my equipment up, my shoes are already dry. And I wouldn't change that about cross kicks for anything.
You're watching Chasing the Tide, your saltwater connection on the Paddle and Fin Network, dedicated to gathering and providing wisdom, knowledge, plus spin a few stories from time spent on the water. Saltwater fishing, updates by the raddest baddest dude on the Gulf Coast. Now let's join the one and only devil dog himself, Dustin Nichols.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Chasing the Tide is back with another live stream. We're your saltwater connection on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. We got a couple of the podium finishers from the recent Florida Redfish Series Kayak Championship they had over in Steenhatchee, right? It was a Steenhatchee, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, should have had all that in front of me. We're all rushing home from work or got to go into work and all that. But I got a couple of the top finishers here with me and hope to have one more join. I know Florida is about to have to deal with another storm coming their way. So, my heart's going out to all y'all over there in Florida, and I'm hoping everything goes well. And man, it just looks brutal. I appreciate y'all taking the time to jump on this evening. I know everybody's got stuff going on, so I appreciate it. But why don't y'all introduce yourselves to everybody and just give them a little quick background and then tell them a little bit about yourself. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, okay. I'm Chris Krigo. I've been doing kayak fishing for probably going on almost close to 10 years now. This is my second season with the Florida Redfish Series. Ended up getting fourth at the championship round. Got fifth in one of the other, or fifth and then first in one of the other rounds throughout the season. So not too bad.
Shoot, yeah, man. Tom, share a little bit about yourself with everybody.
Yeah, I'm Tom Bittner. Been doing the same kayak fishing probably about 9 years. Tournaments probably just recently, the last year and a half or so. So did the Redfish series for the first time this year. Did a handful of those events. I'm from Georgia, so the only one from Georgia. Going down there doing those. But yeah, I did a handful. I only did 4 of the events in the season championship. And pretty good that I think my lowest finish was 8th and my highest was 4th. So just kind of
there you go.
Too crazy.
Well, I'm from Georgia too. I'm actually Tom and I are from the same area. I grew up where he lives now. I was at the Panacea event, and I know you didn't make that one. So next year we're gonna make sure we catch up as well. If y'all, Tom, if you will, share a little bit about some of your time there in Steenhatchee. Did you have some time to show up and pre-fish and kind of get into some of that, how that broke down and what it all entailed? If you don't mind sharing a little bit, you don't have to give areas out or anything.
No, I did a little bit of pre-fishing. I did it with a buddy of mine, Derek. So we did about a month before we went down for just a couple days. I was able to sneak off with work and family to scout some, because we had from Steenhatchee about 100 miles south and 100 miles north from there.
Right.
So it's kind of like a pretty big window. So we went to some spots further south, didn't really see what we liked, and then just kind of before the tournament, had a couple days before the tournament and just went somewhere different, the more in the Swanee area, and just kind of found a little more what we're looking for. Not maybe the right size fish, but a lot of fish, and just kind of went with that.
All right. Looks like might have froze a little bit there.
Uh-oh.
You still on with us?
I'm still here.
Yeah, it'll be all good. We might get a little lag on time. I know that they're still dealing with some storms and stuff. If you happen to have some lag time, just jump off and jump back in, Tom, and we'll go with that. Chris, why don't you share with us a little bit about your time there at Steenhatchee at the Florida Redfish Series Championship?
Yeah, I went there with 2 other teammates, and we got there about a week ahead of time. Got there on a Monday evening. So we went out and pre-fished that Tuesday. It gave us like 3 or 4 days of pre-fish, and definitely wanted to try some areas because I always struggle when I go to Steenhatchee. I'm not used to that clear water. Being on the east coast of Florida, it's always dirty and stained. So we're not used to sight casting redfish. We're always beating the banks. But yeah, so we got to go out there a few days early. And I went from, 45 minutes north to 45 minutes south of Steenhatchee and worked pretty much every place in between. And I ended up finally picking a spot 40 minutes south. I found some pretty good schools. Pre-fished a couple days before there, and found probably over 50 redfish there. And actually it was fun because I would be able to pull up to a school of 10, sight cast one, get one out. I would move on so I didn't spook those. I'd find another school of redfish. I would cast, pick another one out. And then I would just keep doing that for a little bit, and I moved on. Finally, I was like, all right, let me just move out of this spot so before I spook them all. And ended up going back. It's a good 5-minute paddle or pedal where I was at against the current. So it's tough getting there and coming back, but it was worth it.
Shoot, yeah, we got.
I ended up being 12th, and then after the first day, and then the second day, caught some pretty decent fish and ended up 4th. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, 4th overall in the championship round. Yeah, and then Brian, you're able to join us. Thanks for jumping on. If share, introduce yourself to everybody and just share a little bit about yourself. And then what we were talking about was like leading up to the Steenhatchee event. Share a little bit about your pre-fishing experience and everything, and what all you had until going into that event.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. You're good,
I was
having
man.
To work at a late call, so. But anyways, for the Steenhatchee event, as far as pre-fishing, typically for these events, I only get maybe a half day on a Friday, or if that. So typically, I'm just kind of shooting in the dark and relying on my fishing team, the Big Benders kayak fishing team, and to give me a little bit of intel and asking around. And if nobody gives me anything, then, I just go out there and wing it and trust my instincts and figure out exactly what the fish are doing based on, their barometric pressure, the moon phase, tides, time of year, that kind of stuff. So other than that, man, yeah, that's basically, I figured that the fish are going to be on schools, and that's pretty much where the winning ticket was at. So
yeah, definitely. Well, you were pretty consistent. You had a 94.75 2-day total. You had 47.5 and then 47.25, which there was a couple of people that might have had a little bit more on the one day. I think Andrew had like 51 inches, and then there might have been a couple others, but overall you like put it together like pretty consistent with what you found.
Yeah, and that's been the ticket. That's been the ticket for all year. And that was kind of my motto all year as well. This is the first year that I fished all of the events, and my goal was to catch 2 fish every single event. and I did that, and I came up short for Angler of the Year, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
congrats to Carlos. He beat me by 2 points, but it's been a grind, and as long as you can stay consistent and catch 2 fish, then that's what it's all about. So
Right. Carlos is a good dude, man. I drove
absolutely.
into ICAST back in July from Texas, and stopped in Crystal River. We were fishing with Captain Katie Joe down there actually. And I got to meet up with Carlos and had dinner. Me and him been kind of communicating a little bit since I fished the Panacea event, which yeah, we all know how that goes over there. That low water just got the best of me over there. I was on fish the first day, and then pre-fishing a couple days on fish. I let my buddy Jesse, we found some stuff, and I let him go ahead and have an area, and I went back to what I had known when I should have just went and fished and waited on the water in that other spot. It's one of them deals when you got to make all those guesses of where to go, man, and it can just play in your head like really hard and get you.
Oh yeah.
And get you sometimes. So Tom, you back with us?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You kind of
Okay.
freezing up. That
All right.
whole St. Simon's isn't known for the best cell signal over there.
We're in our house because we did have a tree fall through our house door. So I'm temporarily kind of in between right now. So
man, that's right. Y'all did have some tree branches come in with the last one.
Yeah.
So you ended up in 6th place, right? Yep. So tell us a little bit about your day overall, like your first day going into your second day, and how you kind of broke down the areas and everything, if you don't mind.
Yeah, the areas we kind of decided on were, a little bit more creeks, had a lot of more creeks kind of feeding out. So you had some variety and some options. A lot of bait. Didn't really see some big fish, but not a lot, but just a lot of smaller fish, schools, and a lot of shrimp feeding out. So that's kind of where we decided to target. So that was a lot of our idea. Plus, with the tides the way they were for the tournament, it was pretty low, so you had to get some spots with some water and some creeks. That's basically was our goal, is to kind of get out there to the flat, watch it kind of feed out in the morning while it's feeding out, and just kind of watch the shrimp, because you actually see the shrimp and where we're fishing kind of spook up with the schools.
So right there, real quick.
Yep, exactly. But a lot of ladyfish. So we're weeding through a lot of ladyfish with the redfish. It was nonstop with that. But every once in a while you'd stick them. So that was the game plan there. And then just once the creek was low, just kind of staging areas when they're getting back up in there, because they were definitely still really shallow. And then if it wasn't for some airboats and some spots, could have gotten some other ones, getting cut off on some areas.
Yeah, were y'all on some grass flats, or y'all targeting shell or different things, or little deeper edges in the creeks, or what was that going on? The area
more shell and deeper edges where we were at. Didn't really there were some flats further out, but they seemed like the boats were kind of already out there before we could kind of get out to that area. So that's why we just kind of focused where we were at and kind of get shallower than they could, move back to some of these spots where they were
you can get back further in those feeder creeks, and
that's kind of
finding where those fish were pushing those shrimp up on the shorelines and everything, pushing them up.
Exactly.
Sounds like a plan. That's what I look forward to that every year. Like right now is Red October, man, and we got schools just gorging right now over here in the back lakes and the marsh areas and everything, and it's tough not to be on the water, because this is one of my favorite times of the year, besides chasing big old speckled trout. Like it's starting coming up in like November, January, December and January and everything. So
same here, over here in Georgia right now. It's been tough with these storms and everything else, not to be able to get out a little bit for some of these bigger.
I imagine my gills are dry. I fished Saturday morning for like 2.5 hours. Lucky enough to get out there. We got some family in town and stuff on my wife's side, so all this working every day, just my gills are dry, man. Man, all right, Chris, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about your event there on your first day, and what all you stumbled into and how you kept that momentum going into Saturday and upgraded. Actually, you upgraded some fish on Saturday.
Yeah.
A little bigger
So actually,
fish.
it was pretty much the same as Tom. I knew that the tide was going to be pretty shallow. And fishing Seenhatchee before, I kind of made a mistake and picked some spots that ended up super shallow, and I wasn't able to fish. So I knew that going into this day, that I wanted some creeks that were a little bit deeper. So I tried to find some decent creeks that had some moving water deeper in the middle. I knew it would push out in the back, but eventually once that tide changed and came back in, it would push some water back into them. So I've kind of did some searching around on the map and found this spot. And by luck, I just, went over there, pre-fished it, and found a bunch of schools there. And it was a mud flat, mixed with grass flats. But I mean, all the fish I seen the day before were all, I mean, backs out of the water, all belly crawling through the mud,
Oh yeah.
all chasing little small micro shrimp.
Yeah. What were you throwing those fish, targeting those with?
I actually switched to Skinny Water Lures makes a small micro shrimp.
Yeah.
It's about 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches, and I actually switched to that and was able to get a few on
Going
that.
on a small weedless jig head or just a little
the
open
weedless,
hook?
weedless, actually a weedless belly hook.
Yeah, belly
weighted
weight hook.
And then I switched to a 3-inch paddle tail and was able to
Old
pull
green
that.
goblin.
Yeah, the green goblin color. Yeah.
That
And
color's
actually,
been good.
I went to the same spot twice, back to back both days, and was able to really pull some fish. There was a lot of schools there, so I knew there would be more. There would still be fish there the second day.
Yeah.
The first day we fought with some airboats coming in and out, coming and going, but it didn't really spook anything. I was surprised. But once that water switched, I mean, I bet I caught most of my fish in the last 2 hours of my day, because that's when the water switched for me, and I was able to push in the way back. And once I got back there, it was game on, around some oyster beds and some deep pockets, and that's where mainly I found them at.
Right on. And Tom, you caught your fish as well with were you throwing like a shrimp imitation or a little small paddle tail or?
Yeah, I was throwing that new Z-Man, the Prawn Star.
Stars. Yep.
That little 3.5 inch. That seemed to be the ticket. And then
yep.
when I did get out a little bit with the tide was super low before it started switching to, like Chris said, and kind of riding it back, we were throwing. I don't often, but I did sort of switch to a popping cork out there and just covered some water on that front flat and got some of that on there. So,
man, I'm gonna tell you right now, a popping cork and a gulp shrimp, or a popping cork and a shrimp imitation with some pure Procure on there has culled me fish in the last hour on the way back to the ramp many times. And the thing about the FRS as well that when I went and fished over there, I found out was you cannot load up and relocate. So the spot you're fishing out of, you have to have, that's where you're at that day, and that makes it tough because there's a lot of tournaments over here and then in the bass side of things that I've loaded up twice and moved, after fishing an hour or two and move and paid off that way. So you really got to have some, I don't know what to say. It's just like you got to believe that those fish are going to be in that spot. You got to have some confidence in that area for sure. And know you're going to be
tough,
fish.
Just some patience when that tide kind of switched.
Yeah.
Man, just kind of wait, and kind of push back. But it's nervous thinking, like,
oh yeah. And Brian,
it's tough even. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say it's tough even pre-fishing some spots because there's no guarantee that those fish are gonna be there the next day.
Next day,
and
right?
Once you get there, you're stuck. It's like, all right, well, I guess I better start paddling somewhere else.
Oh yeah, that was panacea for me.
Yeah,
no doubt. All right, Brian, how about you, man? So like I said, you were pretty consistent on both days. You put a couple of good fish together on day one and then repeated it on day two. Did you kind of fish the same areas and stick with the same presentations?
No, not at all, actually. So I said it from the beginning of this tournament because a lot of people were, asking around where the fish are, because a lot of people that were pre-fishing a week or two in advance were struggling. And the fact of the matter is, it's that time of year where a lot of fish, especially redfish, are going to be schooling. And if you find the schools, you're going to be in the money.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I found a school on day one. I got lucky enough to cast and catch one of them, and I still saw the school. I ran about 100 yards to go
Caught
chase,
up with them. Yeah. Chase them
caught up
down.
with
Yep.
and caught another one. And then, I was fishing with one of my team members, and he didn't see anything the entire day. There was probably 5 or 6 boats at the particular launch that we went to, and they didn't see anything all day either. So a couple of tiny trout, and that's it. Day two was the same exact scenario. If you found a school, you're good to go, or multiple schools, you're even better.
Yeah.
And it was just, every once in a while drifting on the flat, because day 2 was quite a bit windier. If you're drifting the flat, you can see a couple that were singled out, but they were extremely spooky.
Mm-hmm.
They were not going to eat anything, especially when you're right on top of them. So
yeah,
basically it was a waiting game. It's not my favorite type of fishing to do by any means.
Same.
But at the same time, you got to get out there and you got to be patient, and that was the key to success for me. So
right on. And what were you targeting those fish with?
It was a paddle tail.
Yeah.
Basically a mullet imitation, about 5.5, 6 inches long, and you just threw it out in the middle
bigger
of
bait.
Yep. It was exactly what they were feeding on. Mullet imitations, shrimp imitations, anything, pinfish imitations, anything would have sufficed, but that's what I was throwing because it was a little bit windy. I can get more dip a cast, and that was exactly what they were feeding on. So
man, right on. So what leading into next year, I'm gonna go around with for all of you guys. Are going to fish the series again next year?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool deal. I'm making more than one next year for sure. I'm definitely driving over there for a couple, at least 2 or 3. We'll see how it goes. Overall the series, I mean, they've done a good job, putting it on. Their sponsors they've gathered, and the rewards, ceremonies, and everything they're doing for the kayak community in Florida is great. We've had a few come over here, a few different ones over here throughout the years. I know Professional Redfish League did us some stuff quite a few years in a row, and Ron has kind of stepped away from the kayak side. And then there's Pat with Elite. I know he had some stops in Florida. I'm making all of their stops next year. I missed that championship next week.
Yeah.
Lake Charles. I'm bummed. I could only get 2 days off, and I'm not killing myself to go over there and quick trip, trying to leave straight after work and drive 5 hours, then leave right after tournament and drive 5 hours and go to work the next morning. I'm just not going to do that, man. I'm no in my 50s, and it's not going to happen. I don't want to put myself through that no more. I did enough of that back in the day. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to some of the events next year. I'm we'll see what these storms do with this season, and I want to know who's over in that area. Brian, do you live near that area?
Which area is that, boss?
The western, the Gulf edge of Florida, over there around that area.
We're right up here in the Big Bend.
You're in the Big Bend, more like towards like Horseshoe Beach at Keaton, or further?
Yeah, I mean, we fish all over the place over here, but typically, St. Mark's to, the.
Okay. Where are you located though?
I'm in Havana, Florida. So just north of Tallahassee.
North of Tallahassee. Okay. So you got a little bit of that last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all had to deal with some of that one too. Whew, man.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, man. Oh, I can't even imagine. I saw pictures of Keaton because I fished that quite a bit on the way to Florida a few times for a couple of deals I've done down there, and I really like that area a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Caught some really good trout down there. And then St. Mark's, I've been there multiple times, and that's a pretty killer little area. All those flats, a lot of grass flats down there to fish and target. Really, really neat area. And then we get to Tom's area, the home state right there. Man, that's some deep, lots of tidal movement.
It takes a little adjusting on that side.
Yeah, it dang sure does. I wouldn't even know how to launch somewhere without it being slippery, and I guess you got to time it just right to fish a lot of spots there.
True, and I think that's what benefits be a little bit better. I think with some of the redfish stuff, especially hearing people in Steenhatchee with the tides, I'm like, oh, that's not
This is
that big
nothing.
compared to what we have to do. So it's a lot of timing is especially important over here. Where you launch, where you're going to be, and the same thing is knowing what creeks have water, because you can actually push back at a negative tide in some of these creeks that you wouldn't expect. So you just got to get a little experience with that over there. So yeah, takes a little use.
Yeah, we've had a few people comment on here just saying what's up. Yeah, our boy Jesse over there. Jesse's fished some of the events as well. He was at the championship. He kind of made a charge there, about made the top 10. Dave down there from the Keys. What's up, everybody? Got Bobby from Skinny Water Lures. Everybody, some guys from the podcast there. Adam from up in Canada, and the old man John Rapp. He likes to flirt with the manatees when we go down there. He'll be jumping in the water. They come and visit us. So yeah, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah. Man, that's what I was gonna say. I just wanted to get more like a roundtable discussion, get some of the podium finishers from that event. But y'all got anything else to add as far as the series and anything y'all want to share with anybody about the camaraderie and everything?
I think they're going to be changing it up a little bit this next season to make it into the championship round. You gotta fish at least 2, but you have to qualify within the top 50 at the end of the year. Yeah, to be able to get into to even fish the championship. Yeah. So it kind of pushes you to make sure. I mean, if you don't win any, then it pushes you to fish more. More events throughout the season.
Anything else, Tom, you want to add about the camaraderie or anything of the group there? Because that's what I was. Everybody's super cool. We hung out with a bunch of people. We all went to eat after the Caps meeting. We all hung out, and I mean that's how all the tournaments are here too. But yeah, it's always good. Yeah,
exactly how it is there. Not only us with the boaters, everybody else. Great fun tour, tournaments, everything. They do a great job. Not only the locations we get to go to and they set up, help you out, give you a little bit of advice, not too much, but help you out here and there. It's been a great time. That's why I look for next year and going from there on that side.
Man, look forward to them maybe having a stop up in Georgia. That'd be nice too.
There's some talk that there might be some out of Florida, so
some extended areas maybe branching out a little bit.
At least for the Jacksonville one, I couldn't fish it this year because of some conflicts with work. But I remember the boundaries were at least right to Jekyll Island.
Oh, cool. That's some home stuff. Yeah.
So that's why I was like, next year. Hopefully that's still the on that side.
I got some juice up in St. Mary's, dude.
Same here.
I got a buddy that would fish that one.
There might be some word that there might be some up in Georgia, Texas, Louisiana. Coming soon. So
right on. That'd be cool. Oh, Dave said more margaritas. What was that? That Mexican joint we ate at night was pretty good. And
that was good.
I think I had quite a few of those right there. I mean, margaritas. Albert Guzman is one of my Z Pro team member. Budge right there. What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for everybody tuning in. We just had a little roundtable discussion on the Florida Redfish Series Championship they had in Steenhatchee. It's a few weeks back, with the storm and everything. I kind of put it on hold after that storm came through. I wasn't sure how it affected everybody. I know Tom had to deal with some damage up there. You just got to think how much those storms do, man. It's just like it affects the fishery, it affects everybody's livelihood and job and homes at times. So we're out there. We're thinking about everybody that has to deal with this old bad one coming that way. So I'm praying and hoping everybody gets through it. Without incident, but it's going to be a pretty scary one.
Curious to see what's going to happen with, the first event coming up in January. With this storm coming, they just got hammered pretty good in Steenhatchee. So I don't know,
and they're probably going to get some more surge from this one for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And that's the opening event is in Steenhatchee in January.
Yeah. In January, yeah.
So how's that fish in January? I know that's.
I like it. Tough? I mean, I like the cold, so the weather's a little bit better. It is tough, but pretty much about the same. You just gotta get out there and find them. You gotta put it.
This year wasn't too cold though. This year was about low 80s.
Oh,
The
wow.
actual turbidite. Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Pretty warm. But the river, there's some rivers and springs there, so it's kind of regulated. Is that more Crystal River area where it has a little more springs coming in?
More Crystal River, yeah.
Okay.
Crystal River, Wiki Wachi kind of area.
Wiki Wachi, yeah, kind of that stuff. Yeah, that'll regulate, that constant 69, 70 degrees there, feeding in from those springs. And I know those fish kind of move up towards that. I know the snook do for sure. Did y'all get on some snook in that championship stop?
No, it was a bunch of ladyfish for me.
Ladyfish.
Trying to get past those were a pain.
Yeah.
Ladyfish and trout. I mean, tons of trout. Always find trout there whenever I don't need them, but
right.
Yeah, but the key was trying to get past the ladyfish. Once you got past those, you'd be able to find some. At least for me, I was able to find some redfish.
Yeah, that was my deal in the spot I fished during that event in Panacea. I bet I caught 40 trout, and they were all over 19 inches. They were like 19 and above. My biggest was like 23 and a half that day.
Wow.
And it's like, dude, they were just wrecking that double D. I was just ripping a double D through the potholes, and they were just killing it. And I thought the redfish would have been pulled out the way the tide was so low. It was a fun event, but man, it was the wrong species and then overslots. I had two over. I had 28 and a half and a 29 and a quarter. You just couldn't find the right ones,
Yeah, that was another thing about finding those schools was people were getting, anything between 18 inches and 32 inches. So
right.
You gotta find the right ones, and luckily, I don't know how, but I found the right ones both days.
Found the right ones. You average each day average just a little over 24 inches per fish,
Yeah, so it was a blessing, and it could have happened to anybody. You just got to get lucky, and it's just that time of year that you got to find exactly where they're feeding and where they're schooling, and get out there and get after it. So
yeah. Well, I have another question for y'all too about the CPR aspect of this event, the catch photo release that uses a tournament management app. There's a lot of people over here that fish tournaments that just do not like it. They don't. I don't know. We had some issues with people putting stuff under the fish to make them fit in a slot, like raising the fish up with like a sponge or a piece of wood under them, and it raises them up weird. And you
don't tell everybody.
So, well, it's out there. I mean, it is.
Yeah,
people that are going to cheat are going to cheat. So a lot of our events here are live weigh-ins. We got to bring the fish in live, and if they're dead, you lose a half pound per fish, and then they get released afterwards. They get put in a holding tank with oxygen, G-juice, and all that good stuff.
Oh, that is
and I see
pretty tough.
I run a live well on my kayak. Like this last two tournaments, I had fish in my live well from 8:15 in the morning until 3 and weighed them in, and they were still kicking and wanting to jump out of my hands.
I feel like that's pretty unnecessary. Personally, I used to be, a lot of people know that I used to be a game warden. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'd rather see the CPR event. We ain't got to worry about tending to the dang fish all day.
Me too. But, eventually, people that want to do things that are, unethical are going to do those things. And
yep.
It's just something that you have to deal with. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
See, I like this.
Go ahead.
I like the CPR part of it. Every tournament that we fish over here in Florida is pretty much 90% is CPR. So whenever we do get a chance, fishing the Elite Series, it was actually kind of cool for us to actually be able to work a live well, be able to keep your fish alive, be able to bring them in, be up on
get
stage,
pictures and be on stage.
It is cool.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool to be able to do that too. So I think it's, I like both sides of it.
Right.
TBR is a little bit easier. You ain't got to mess with nothing. But then it gets to the point where you got to touch your elbow, touch your head, your foot, do a backflip just to take a picture. And it's getting kind of a little. Well,
that comes to angler responsibility and knowing the rules as well. So you have to do that, and that's just due diligence and be right. I know there were some issues in that event. I'm not going to really get into it too much, but no names or nothing involved. I'm not going to say anything besides there was definitely something that went down at that event that was Was
I mean,
all over
I'll,
social media
I'll
from a
give you a good
couple people.
example. I'll give you a good example. It was the Crystal River tournament.
Mhm.
You know, I had a perfect 27-inch redfish, and I didn't hear because of where the event was held for the weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear the rules saying that it needed to be at 24 and a half. I was always at 24. I was disqualified to fish, and I would have had that tournament, you know, by
Wrapped
2.5,
up.
almost 3 inches. It was disqualified, and I rightfully deserved that disqualification
Yeah.
because the rules are set, and that's the way it is. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for what he's referring to, he's talking about the catch ID. The holder itself has clips that slide up and down that catch board. And they want them from, what's it, 24 and a half to 26 and a half, I think it goes to.
Yeah, it's like the tail pinch, pretty much.
And it
Kinda
acts
pinch
like
the
a natural tail pinch when you lay those fish in between those little black tabs on that catch ID holder. And it has to be there between those marks for it to count. You know, that's where they want it for those fish over a certain length.
Yeah, the tail can't be
Yeah,
laying
Brian,
up on
I did the same thing, Brian. I had the same thing happen. It was off by a quarter of an inch, and yeah, I got denied and had another one because the fish finder was blocking the head on one. It happens. You learn how to take your photos, you know.
Yeah,
Live and learn. Live and learn.
This tournament, I had to send in multiple pictures because they contacted me.
Yep.
Part of my identifier was half missing on one. The glare on one of them was messed up, and I was like, man, all right, you know, that's why you got to take multiple pictures. But
yes,
right at this point, you take 15 photos of the same fish, and you'll be good to go after that. So.
Oh yeah, and then you learn your lesson. Like, I still see people measuring fish on their lap, and I'm like, what are you doing? That it don't take but one to jump off, and you lose a check. That you're like, nope, it's going on the deck, it's coming up. I'm putting my net up vertically, and I'm holding them there. And then I've actually got to where I video my fish on the board, and then I pick them up and release them, so they know that fish, if it had a questionable eye or something weird, they know it swims off as well. Because I've had tournament directors say, hey, you know, we had some people say that fish is questionable, this and that. I said, well, okay, here you go. I got a video right here. This is that fish, and it's swimming off just like that. And then like, oh, you're good. So cover your ass. That's basically what it is right there. You got to, man.
You have to.
Because I don't care what place I'm in, I look at people's fish all the time. But I'm in the money, and I can move up, and I say, man, it's your responsibility to know the rules. Mine too. I expect somebody to call me out and be like, hey, that fish needs to be DQ'd. He's got his hands all over that spot or something, covering the eye or something, you know. So I understand it, and I'm the same way, you know. It's just part of it. Part of it. Y'all got anything else to add? Chris, what's going on? You got anything else about the CPR? You like it? You good with it?
I mean, I like it. I like both sides of it. I mean, honestly, if you're not keeping the fish, I mean, why not do the CPR?
Right.
I mean,
send them out.
No point in bringing them in. And plus, it's less stress on the fish, and you know.
True. Yep. Dave said 100 pictures of each fish.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I make sure they're perfect on that first one, and it's good to go.
It's definitely a good series. Everybody,
for sure.
We got a damn good group of guys. And
Chris,
anglers.
Kelly, they got the whole thing going on, man. They're doing it right. They're doing it right. They're doing it right over there. Or I wouldn't drive from Texas to come fish something, you know, for sure. So yeah, man, we kind of covered it pretty good. I just wanted to get everybody together. A couple people. I know we had one. Dave Driscoll couldn't join us. I had a few others that I'm gonna get Carlos on. If you're out there listening, I'm gonna get you on, and we're gonna talk about that AOI win as well. Carlos, that's a good fella right there. I was texting him earlier today, making sure I don't know if he's gonna get out or stay. I know he's got a sister down further south as well. But yeah, if y'all want to go, and Chris, we'll start with you. Give a shout out. You know, got some sponsors or anything you need to plug, and
yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Skinny Water Lures. That's my main sponsor. Always producing good lures. I mean, that's what I'm catching all my fish on. So shout out to them. Dave Hernandez over at St. Augustine Paddle Sports. He's always hooking it up whenever we're breaking stuff on kayaks and everything like that. Let's see, Adam over at Janung's Fish Camp, a great guy. Also has a great setup over there. These are all small time local bait shops that are also, give us credit and help us out throughout the year also. Shout out to the wife for, always allowing me to hit the road whenever I can and always be on the water fishing. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to be out there every month fishing. So that's it.
Right on. Tom?
Yeah, no sponsors really. Some stuff in the works, but yeah, really this year, just more shout out to my wife for giving me the time, dealing with the kids, sneak away to be able to do some of these. My friend Derek, that's kind of one of the reasons for us to get together, because he lives down in Brayton, for us to meet up and do it. This little one, she wants to say hi.
What's up?
Say hi, Aubrey. So yeah, that's really it on this side. Just the family for letting me be able to do some of it.
Always a blessing to have a supportive family for sure. Brian?
Yeah, I would like to shout out my fishing team, Big Bender's kayak fishing team. Without them, obviously, me going to every event would not be possible. Just funding it on my own. They gave me a couch to sleep on or a camper to sleep in at every single event, and I truly appreciate them to the max. And obviously, the other two have already said their wives, but big shout out to my wife. She's been holding down the fort every single time I go away for the weekend and try to do what I love, and that's an amazing thing. Florida Fishing Products just picked me up, so I'd like to shout them out, and they're going to be providing, equipment for me next year. And Costa Del Mar as well has been a long time sponsor of me. The best fishing glasses.
Lost him. He'll probably jump back on. Right on. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in. That's the funny thing about these cell phones. Sometimes they got to monitor their own. Yeah, I was going to say that Florida Fishing Products, they released their bait casters this year. They've been doing some stuff. The rep's pretty cool. There he is. Let him get back. If he comes back in, he's going to jump out and probably jump back in. That's normally what able to get right back in there. Chris, you got on Daiwa this year as well, right?
Yeah, so that I meant to give them a shout out.
Yep.
So I'll be using all their stuff this coming up season. I just started using it. I've always been using it, but I've just started using a bunch of their rods this last tournament. So shout out to
they ain't better than Waterloo. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've been on both. I'm messing with you.
I mean, I can't complain.
They're
about
good
that.
rods.
Their
good
reels,
gear.
I mean, their reels are top notch. So I've been, putting those to the test. But definitely Florida Fishing Products. One of their reels, their new bait caster, and it was in the right hand, and I'm left-handed. So I reached out to them, and they were quick to change it out for me. I mean, they sent it to me, free shipping, paid for the shipping back. So shout out to them. I mean, they hooked it up for sure.
Yeah, the rep's super cool. He's an old skateboarder too, so me and him kind of hit it off. They were over here for some stuff at the Houston Fishing Show. Super cool people. One of the other guys on Waterloo, Trevor, fishes for him, and he's a cool kid and all that. Brian, you're back on. Let you continue. You got cut off real quick.
No, it's all good. I really just wanted to shout out to my fishing team. That's pretty much the majority of this. And that's all I had to say, man. Those guys.
Y'all got a good group of guys. How many guys are part of that Big Benders fishing team?
I think we have 7.
Dozen? Oh, 7.
We have 7 right now.
And who's the ringleader?
The ringleader, that's definitely going to be Captain Kayak. His name is Scott Pritchard. Yeah.
Pritchard, yeah, I met him. He's a cool dude as well. We got to hang out a little bit.
He's definitely makes the plans for everybody, which makes everything easy. So nobody's arguing about where we're going to stay, what we're going to do, and other than that, we just get out there and fish and get out. So.
You got to think you got 7 of you guys. You can have a little difference of opinion or something every now and then. I'm sure you're like, man, we're gonna stay here.
We clash all the
closer
time.
To the barbecue joint. No, this place closer to the seafood joint.
It's It's all right. The East Coast guys coming for him this year.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Uh-oh. Well, cool deal, man. Well, I hope to see all of y'all at least a few of them. I'm definitely trying to make more than a couple this year, especially
cool.
the east side ones. I'm hoping to, if they have another Jacksonville stop, probably definitely
they
fishing
will.
that one. And then the Panacea, we'll see how that one holds up. And then maybe if they have another Panama City stop. Was there a Panama City stop last year? Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got
Little
the
bit
schedule.
closer.
I think the only that's changed, Crystal River's now Key. So it's the same.
They have Cedar Key instead of Crystal River, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little further south.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, man, we're going to wrap up tonight. I got some Thai food waiting on me. I had to miss out on my dinner. But first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. And if y'all don't mind, y'all will find this on the Paddle and Fin podcast page. And if y'all will share it to social media, I'd appreciate it. That way you can get more views and get it out there. It was kind of a, deal. I didn't, I'm glad we got to pull it off because I was worried about the storm coming and everything else. And so I'm glad. I appreciate you guys taking the time from your stuff you got going on in your families to jump on here with me. Chris, Tom, and Brian, appreciate it. Congrats on y'all's finishes at the Florida Redfish Series Championship there in Steenhatchee.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing y'all. And first, and another thanks to everybody tuning in, those who are watching it now and who will watch this later. We appreciate you all. We couldn't do this without you. And that's it for Chasing the Tide on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. See y'all next time.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Dustin.
Have a good one. Yep.